Hi everyone, this is Am. Today I'm going to share with you the 7 golden rules to upgrade your home surely and safely. Without further ado, I'm going to dive right into it, right, to let you get some value from it. One second, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, now you can see my screen. All right. Okay, I'm not going to repeat this topic itself. It's quite clear cut. Again, everybody risk is different. It's better to go through with us to assess your potential so we can optimize what you can actually get from your income and also your age and all other criteria, right? Okay, 7 golden rules. What are them? You may have heard of TDSR, income, age, CPF, details in your property, current interest rates, and cash flow. These are all very common. But I'm going to assure you what you're going to go through next is something that you probably have not heard of and is an important hack in terms of upgrading your home using this strategy. Let's dive right in, right? Number one golden rule, right? TDSR, total debt serving ratio, right? This is what the MAS actually provided is 60% of your income can be used to service your mortgage. It also take into account the expenses and money debt obligation. So let's say, for example, you have credit cards, your loans, you need to dock it off, right? So what is the difference between MSR, the mortgage serving ratio, which is 30% of your monthly income? This is generally used in HDB itself, where you do the assessing, but they do not really take into account of the expenses. So meaning to say, if you pass your MSR, you may fear your TDRs, meaning to say that even if you pass your MSR at 30% of your income, your TDSR may be lower because of your debt obligation. So it is good to have two-legged kind of like assessment to make sure that you are in line, you're not over leveraged. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of hack on that. The TDSR is only based on the credit bureau. That means those debts has a credit bureau record in your profile. For example, credit cards. Let's say if you have regular payments, or you do not even use a card at all. All these records are actually in the credit bureau of your personal data. You can actually purchase it, you can understand it. So meaning you said how we help our clients that we actually work with them to understand for those borderline cases how we can improve, reduce the number of cards you're using to make it like inactive, so that in essence to improve your TDSR, right? Okay, this is number one hack. Let's go to the next hack, right? Number two golden rule, income. Okay, so before even you buy any properties, you have an intention, just get to a banker and then get your IPA or AIP done. What is IPA? In principle approval. AIP, approval in principle, is the opposite side of it. So it means the same thing. They will assess the maximum loan and property prices you can purchase. So without, please do not just sign on the dotted line without doing this due diligence. It is very critical. And this is just one of the important things that you need to clear before even you think of buying something. There are more to it later on when we're going to share. So 100% for salary workers, but not true now because of certain trade, like airline industry that's badly affected by COVID. The bank have different assessment or highline cut for it, even up to about 50%. Right, then for variable bonus is 30% headline cut, and also for trade income, meaning business and self-employed personnel, is also having a 30% cut before they assess. Means if let's say with 10,000 income, only 7,000 is recognized, and then that forms your TDSR multiplier by 60%. All right. Okay. Number three golden rule. The maximum loanable age is 65. How do you actually maximize the age itself? Would you like to add another? Usually, what in the past they would like to add another younger party, then you get the maximum age. But now, with the cooling measure in place, IWAA, income weighted average age applies, meaning to say that even though your higher income is on a higher weightage. Let's say it's 10K at the age of 60 based on the example below, and as age 30 with an income of 5K. So using the IWAA formula, it kind of like your age calculation is actually at the age of 50 for that kind of combination. Whereas the other side, if you look below, at this, the age of 65K, and then your 30 years old is earning 10K, your age is actually, your combined is actually at 40. So 40 at the age of 65, you just have to take 65 minus by 40. You have 25 years to loan. Whereas here at the age of 60, 10K and 35K, you have 50. So 65 minus by 50, you have 15 years loan tenure. So it may not make sense for you to add somebody that is older in your calculation itself. You may want to improve your income for those younger parties who want to purchase a property. So it depends how this will actually help you to assess whether or not adding somebody of younger or older age into your property purchase makes sense, right? Okay. Number 4, golden rule, right, is CPF. CPF, important thing to take note is at the age of 55, your OA and SA, your SA first will be transferred into your RA followed by OA. The balance is going to return back to you when you meet your full retirement sum. So what you're going to do here is be very careful. If let's say you are intending to buy a property before the age of 55, your entire sum of OA can be used. If you see it is that you have not met your retirement sum, but you still can use it to buy OA. But when you reach the age of 55, your full retirement sum will be stuck in your OA. I mean at RA. So you need to actually apply, subject to approval, half of the retirement sum for your property purchase, right? So these are the few things that you need to understand and plan with carefully before you make any decision. It means a lot. It can jeopardize the whole trade. So plan early for those that are about reaching 55. Yeah. All right. The number 5 golden rule. Details of the property is important. You need to know the cost price, what you entered, and then also your estimated selling price. How to get it? You can actually look at the X value, which is quite a clear one, or the bank valuation or the past transaction itself, and also look into your OA that's used in your property purchase and also your accrued interest. Where do you get it from? You can actually log into your CPF and then click onto the property itself. And then from the property, you can actually look into what are the amount of OA and accrued interest used. You can even click in to understand what is the amount that you can use for your next property purchase in your CPF portal, right? If you want to understand about your information about your current flat, HDB, you can log into the HDB portal to see what is the outstanding loan and all those. If not, for bank loan, you just have to liaise with bank or log into your banking to look at what are the outstanding loan. So what here the hack is to understand valuation. So if you have a $1.7 million property that you are planning to buy, and you call the bank said, I match your valuation. Is it good or bad? Come on. Is it good or bad when the bank call you and say, hey, this property you purchased, it match your valuation? Good or bad? If you think it's good, I can share with you that it is not good. Huh? Meaning to say, when the banker can match valuation, it can actually, other banks can actually goes up higher, can have a higher valuation. So why do you need a higher valuation? Why? For example, at a 75% valuation for 1.7 million, that will be 1.3 million. So your loan is 1.3 million. So effectively, if you're buying a $1.7 million property, if you're doing a gear up, you have nothing, which is the gear up formula is 75 minus by outstanding loan minus by CPF. But let's say, for example, you bought this property already and you intend to do a gear up after 6 months or 1 year, right? So at if UOB tells you that your property can goes up to $2.2 million, right? So potentially at 75%, 1.650 status quo, let's put the loan at 1.3 million. You potentially can cash out 350,000 cash from your property. So this is the beauty about gear up. So at this point in time, you have understand something that the amount of money you put in may for your property may be very, very little. Your leverage is very, very high. But why are we doing that? Later, I'll share a little bit more on how you can maximize this, because at this point in time, the interest rate is at 1.5% or lower, depending on your type of quantum and the amount of loan you're getting. So my question to you, do you have another product that can give you a fixed higher income, for example, fixed D or whatever product it is, or your CPF is, it can give you a higher income at 2.5 or even REITs at 6%. Of course, there's a risk. So if you have, don't you think there is a arbitrage? Meaning to say you can actually lock in this rate and then invest in that, and then 2 years after the lock-in period, you do a refi and restructure your portfolio and earn the difference. Can you do that? I leave it to you, right? Okay, let's go to the next hack. Number 6 golden rule, interest rate. All right. So MAS stress test is about 3.5%. So we always do projection 3.5% just to share what are the risks that you are getting. If let's say, for example, your risk, your mortgage, your interest rate goes up to 3.5, can you still afford it, right? So current interest rate, we are looking into it. There are a few things that are the types of interest rate. There are SIBOR, there are board rates, there are fixed rate. These are the three main things. So board rate is actually a bank rate itself. They give it to you. So it varies from bank to bank, and they use different things to determine, but it's less volatile than those floating rates. All right. Then you have usually we ask for waiver of due to sales, also waiver to fees or allow partial redemption of loan. Also, let's compare to HDB and also the bank loan. Bank loan is at 75, HDB loan is at 90%. At this point in time, you ask me which one is a better one. Well, I'm going to share with you a little bit more when you speak to me, which are the best, how you can actually structure your loan. It's a little bit more complex and it works for different parties, so I'm not going to touch it here. There is a way of doing to optimize this, all right? Then also borrower and owner relationship. In Singapore right now, last time you can do a guarantor, but now you can't. The owner must be a borrower. But of course, borrower can be one, owner can be two. Meaning to say this borrower, when you go to buy a second property, ABSD still apply. But the beauty of this is that the loan amount is still at 75%. They do not need to move out their CPF from the existing property. They can straight dive into the next property. So there's cons, pro and cons. If you are okay with the ABSD, why not, right? Rather than to do a full restructuring, meaning to decouple. So these are the options that we have in place. Let us do some activities right now. If you have a $1 million property with a 750 100K loan at 2% interest. For 20 years, your interest is 1659, 160K. Your total property cost plus the 1 million will be at 1.16. Total money installment is about 3.7K. Is it a lot, right? Okay, compared to scenario B, 30 years tenure, your interest rate at 247, that's around 250. So your total cost is about 1.25 million. Your money installment is 2773. Okay, so you have 1K per month, say, so-called 1K per month difference, roughly 1K per month. So which one would you choose? Let's take a scenario. If it's 1K, 12K for 5 years, you have 60K difference. 5K, 5 years, you have 60K difference. So question to you is that for this 60K, would you want this? Would you have something to invest in this 60K? If you do not have, similar to what my previous example, if you have something that you can invest regularly in for higher income for this 60K, then it makes sense. If not, if you think you're more comfortable with money installment, then let's go for that high money installment. So it helps to save the interest at the long run. But of course, looking at the whole scheme of things, it does, if you have plans to buy a second property or second, then you may want to reduce the exposure in terms of money installment so that it improve your TDSR, because this is one of the debt obligation. So it depends person to person. If you really have something that you can earn more than the 2% or 1.5% the current interest rate, then it makes sense for you. Okay, let's dive into the last one. The number 7 golden rule: cash flow is the king. So what is so special about this? You know that agency fee, legal fees, buyer fees. The hack here is that we have a formula that excluding legal fee, about 3,000. So you use 28% of the property price minus by 5,004. This is the down payment and stamp duty that you need to pay. So if you have that amount, ballpark, you should be able to comfortably exercise the property. As well as if you have more than $1 million, you 29% minus by 15,400. This is the formula for more than $1 million property. So I have a little quiz for you again. If you are age of 45 at 1 million, you're taking a $1 million loan. So which one would you choose? You would choose a 1.6% with no lock-in, or you choose 1.5 with lock-in. Which one would you choose? Of course, most of you, common sense, you will take 1.5% lock-in for 2 years, right? But the thing is this: if you are at the age of 45, you did not maximize your loan tenure. Means 65 minus by 45, you only have 20 years of loan tenure, as compared to using 75 minus by 45. So you have a maximum of 30 years. So based on the refinancing formula on top, which is 75 minus by the existing service of loan, usually we take about 2 years. So usually you would need to you will definitely have this whichever is lower, either 75 minus by age or 75 minus by the age of the existing loan minus by 2 years. So these are the formulas that you can actually extend your tenure for homestay property, for homestay property, not for investment, so that you can comfortably pay for your money installment. It's quite a big difference. Like for example, giving if you have 30 years tenure for $1 million, it's 3K, right? Just imagine you are at the age of 55, you only have 10 years to service the loan. Wouldn't it be 9K times 3? So a 3K and 9K is a big difference. It is very, very difficult to service mortgage. I have seen clients that at a very old age, their mortgage for almost $1 million property or more than $1 million property at about 14K per month kind of mortgage they are paying is very scary. Is less than 10 years. Yeah, all right. So let's dive into the example to let you understand what can be done. A 9K salary. Okay, let's say for example you bought a HDB in 2018 for 300K from BTO. The market value now is 500K. Outstanding loan is about 162. We did some calculation. It is more or less around there. 35. So your CPF use is about 88. 31. Your accrued interest, then that you need to pay back, then your existing OA is about 60K. So these are the numbers for 4005. You do not have a cash saving. You also do not have any money expenses in your credit bureau. All right. So how does it look like in this game plan, right? So for simplicity, it's just total add up 60% for employment income. Let's say each of you have one credit card, right? That is every month you're paying fully or you're settling the payment. So you at least a minimum sum is $50. So this is what reflected on your credit card, a minimum sum. All right. So do you have 5,003? Based on that, what does it mean? Is actually a $1.5 million property can purchase at 1.8. Do you maximize this up to 1.58 million? I suggest not. Try to be a little bit prudent. We will look into the safety net. So CPF usable is we add up the sales proceed at AI from what you use in your property together with your existing one. You have times 2, since it's same is 358 for a simpler calculation. So the selling price is 500K minus by the outstanding loan minus by the CPF use. So your cash proceed is about 100K, right? So by this time you said $1 million property, a 3K loan estimate, a 3K money installment kind of thing is pretty strong, pretty stressful for some. So what is the down payment you're looking at? So down payment, just now we have a hack, which is at 28%, is less than so-called $1 million. So 28%, how do you get 5% cash, 20% CPF or cash, plus 3% stamp duty? So all these three numbers add up to 28%. But of course, this 3% stamp duty is minus the so-called 5,004, so you have about 25. So your legal fee is 3K. So all in all, we need these numbers for down payment. So 50 cash plus 228, which is 278K over here, right? So based on that, 2% is about 2.8K. But I'm going to round it up to 3K in terms of recalculation the safety net, which is a little bit more prudent in terms of that. So after you buy your property, you have 100 cash minus by 50, you left with 45K. Then CPF, you left with 130. So you add up this both, you have about 175 divided by 3, you have 58 months. Divided by 12, you have 4.8 years. Is it safe or not safe? How do you determine it? So we have a seller stamp duty which is 1284. So within 3 years itself. So you need to fulfill this criteria in order to sell a property without the need of paying SSD. But it doesn't say that you don't, it doesn't disallow you to sell, just that you have to pay. So if you are able to fetch a higher price, you can exit earlier if you want to pay the stamp duty. So usually the exit strategy, if it's something that is more than 3 years, safety net is very safe to me. I would think so. But of course, everybody's risk is different. You may need 5 years or so, up to personal preference. Then you have to reduce your buying price and to meet these criteria, and just have to adjust it accordingly to suit your needs, right? So from this calculation itself, you're buying a 1 million from a $500,000 property or 300,000 property, you jump all the way to $1 million property, and you have a safety net of about 4.8 years, or let's say 4 years. Is it safe or not safe? If you couldn't afford it by the end of 3 years, you start marketing it and do a U-turn strategy back, you probably can make something. because of the forced saving, and also you have been saving your loan and all those. So you have forced saving in place, and on top of that, you turn back to the HDB property, then you created a huge sum of money from your forced saving, even though if you are selling at the same price. Let's give an example, right? So this will be a very safe criteria and also help you to save. I would say this is when you're buying an asset class that is not a car as compared to a car and a property. I would think this will help you in your future retirement plan. Imagine, let's say for example, you are just serving your property for $500,000. At the end of age of 25 years later, or 30 years later, when you fully pay off your loan, you still have only $500,000. But let's say you are able to stretch, I mean, you are able to fulfill all the monthly mortgage at the end of 25 years, for example, or 30 years, do you think that this property will be yours and is fully paid? So which amount or which property price at the time when you exit could give you a more comfortable life when you want to retire, when you want to do a U-turn, downgrade to something like HDB? Which one will give you a better retirement plan? You decide, right? Okay, so what I've shared with you the 7 golden rules to upgrade your home surely and safely, right? So I'm also giving out this 7M cheat sheet, upgraded cheat sheet to let you understand how we analyze the property itself. So please take advantage of it. It's totally free, or you can also call us to contact us. We'll run through with you what are the properties you look at to save you the trouble, because we do this in and out daily. So it is pretty straightforward for us, and we understand which are the more potential projects that is out there for you, right? Okay, this is M signing off. I hope we add value for you today. Bye.